Welcome back to Everyday Gourmet. I'll have you all know that we're in for a special treat today. You all are in the presence of a champion. Yes, I am the 2012 Tongues of Fire Chili Cook-Off champion. Okay, well, it's just a church chili cook-off contest, but I do love some chili, and I think it's a great dish to make. And today we're going to do a special type of chili. Instead of doing a beefy, meaty, fatty chili that you would normally see, we're going to do my light, fresh, fast veggie chili. It's going to be perfect for a meatless Monday or a vegan meal. I'm going to get to chopping, and we'll meet back here to start cooking. See you in a sec. All right, well, I'm going to get started. I'm going to pop this onion into a preheated pan on medium heat with 3 tablespoons olive oil in there. All right, so my onions are beginning to get translucent, letting off some steam, so I'm going to add the next ingredients. First up, my 2 cloves of garlic that I've chopped. And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds. I'm going to let these cumin seeds toast in there while the garlic sautés, and so they bring out some of their nice, deep, rich flavor. Maybe a minute or 2 more. All right, so the garlic is nice and toasty. You can really smell it in here. So I think it's time to add the next ingredients. First, my 2 bell peppers for some sweetness. And look at that color, that's beautiful. Get some of those out of there. All right. And then at the same time, I'm going to add my mushrooms. Ooh, it's getting full. Have a nice big meal today. And now a good tip is to always season vegetables as you add them, so you never forget how much you need to add. So I'm thinking I've got 2 bell peppers and some mushrooms in there, so I want to season for that much. Adding the salt will also help bring some of those juices and liquids out of the bell peppers and really get everything flowing in the pot. Right, so it's been maybe 10 minutes, and we really want to spend some time at this step. You want to get the peppers to start breaking down a little bit, and really the mushrooms to sort of disappear, because you don't want to bite into a big piece of mushroom. The mushrooms are there for background flavor and meatiness and depth of flavor, but you don't really want the texture in there, because it's not going to be super pleasing in a chili. And so next, the spices. I've got my chipotle peppers going to go down. And make sure to use ones in adobo, not dried, because the dried ones will zap up all the liquid from this and have a weird dried flavor that we're not really looking for. And then my teaspoon of cayenne pepper, nice and spicy. And my 2 tablespoons of chili powder. And the more different types of spicy things or spices that you can use, the better, because it will give a more full flavor to the chili and not just hit the heat in the back of the tongue, but you want to get heat all over the mouth and really varied, interesting flavor. So I'm just going to toast these together for a second to get the flavors going. Perfect. And now for my tomatoes. So I've got 2 cans, or 1 large can and 1 small can of these tomatoes, petite diced with the liquid remaining, because I'm not going to add any more liquid to this other than what's in these cans. So let's add these guys. Nice sweet tomatoes. And this is really a place that you want to use canned tomatoes. Don't go through all the trouble of chopping up fresh tomatoes. That's just way more trouble than it's worth, because you have to peel them and de-seed them and everything. They do it for you in the can, and they're pretty cheap, so go for that. Now that I got this all stirred up, I'm going to let this hang out for half hour, maybe even 45 minutes to let all the flavors meld, the tomatoes to get warm, and the chili to get nice and spicy. See you back in a bit. All right, so our chili's been stewing for about 30 to 45 minutes. You can do it for however long you really like. I'm going to add our finishing touches. First, some corn. Now there are lots of different variations you could do on this recipe. You could add beans, you could have lots of other sorts of things, but I really like the sweetness of the corn and the color that it brings to the dish. So I'm gonna do this 1 cup of corn, and it's frozen, but our chili's so hot coming off of the stove, it'll defrost right in there. And you don't wanna cook the corn in there too long because it'll start to puff and break down, and it won't look very pretty. I'm gonna stir that in and let the latent heat defrost that. And then I'm gonna add the juice of half a lime just to brighten it up at the end. A little bit of acid will play nicely with the spicy flavors and with the sweet flavors that we've got in there with all our lovely vegetables. So that's good there. And now, so time to plate it up. I'm just gonna do a sort of demi bowl here and fill it up with all this vegetable goodness. Now this is a really healthy meal. The only fat we used was the olive oil at the very, very beginning. So it's packed full of veggies with nutrients and no meat. If you wanted to add a little bit of sour cream or cheese, you can, and turn this into a vegetarian dish instead of a vegan dish, and that'll give it a little more richness, a little more fulfilling perhaps, but this is great the way it is. And finally, I'm gonna garnish it with a little wedge of lime. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.